Winter in Viking lands wasn't for the faint of heart. The biting wind cut through even the thickest wool cloaks, and, well, the ground inside a home could chill your bones faster than a spear to the chest. Yet somehow, these northern warriors stayed warm without relying on endless piles of firewood. They had a secret, a flooring trick so clever it could make the coldest stone huts feel like a cozy haven. If you love survival hacks that outsmart modern tech, hit that subscribe button now and join the crew uncovering history's best-kept secrets. The genius of Viking homes wasn't in grand fireplaces or blazing hearths. It was in the floor beneath their feet. Most people think insulation is modern, but the Vikings had mastered it centuries ago. Their homes were built with layered floors, combining natural materials that trapped heat and blocked the chilling ground. Stone and earth, when paired with straw, rushes, or even animal hides, created a buffer that made cold floors nearly invisible. But they didn't just lay stuff down randomly. There was an art to it. Vikings understood thermal mass, how different materials absorb and radiate heat. Stones would slowly soak up the warmth of the sun during the day, releasing it into the living space at night. Layers of straw and hides acted like a sponge, locking in that precious heat while keeping the cold out. It was a system so simple, yet so brilliant, it makes modern radiant floor heating look like overkill. The real Viking floor hack was in the layering. The first layer was always the hard base, either compacted earth or flat stones. On top of this, they'd lay straw, hay, or reeds. This wasn't just padding. It created an insulating barrier that prevented heat from escaping into the frozen ground. Animal hides were sometimes thrown on top, adding comfort and trapping air pockets that further increased insulation. This combination did more than just keep feet warm. It actually regulated temperature throughout the house. During the day, the floors would absorb sunlight and body heat, and then, at night, that warmth would radiate slowly, creating a surprisingly stable indoor temperature. For folks living where winters could freeze rivers solid, this was survival technology, cleverly disguised as simple craftsmanship. You know, it's easy to dismiss straw and hides as primitive, but honestly, the Viking method holds some real lessons for us today. Modern insulation, well, it often relies on chemicals or synthetic fibers. Vikings, on the other hand, achieved the same effect using renewable, locally sourced materials. They didn't need central heating or power grids. They just understood physics, airflow, and the properties of the materials they had. Even today, folks experimenting with passive heating can actually replicate this system. Layering natural materials over compacted ground or stone slabs can really reduce heating bills and improve comfort. The key, you see, is strategic layering. Dense materials to store heat, light materials to trap air, and a soft top layer for insulation and comfort. It's a system that's cheap, sustainable, and honestly, astonishingly effective. Here's the kicker. Vikings didn't just layer floors for comfort, they used the same strategy to manage moisture and, well, prevent rot. In a damp, icy climate, moisture could ruin a home faster than any enemy raid, honestly. By keeping straw or rushes between the stone and the living area, they allowed airflow, which kept floors dry and, durable. It was a subtle, genius way to extend the life of a house while still maintaining warmth. This hack wasn't limited to homes. Workshops, storage areas, and even temporary shelters used similar principles. The Vikings were masters of maximizing minimal resources, that's for sure. Their floors were a system, not just decoration, a silent weapon against the harsh northern environment. Curious if this works today? Well, start small. Lay a thick layer of straw or hay over a stone or concrete floor. Cover it up with blankets, rugs, or even hides if you have them. Then, walk barefoot and notice the difference. Even in winter, the temperature difference can be, pretty striking. For those serious about survival prep, Replicating Viking floor layers in a cabin or small shelter is, well, a real game changer. You don't need fancy gadgets. You just need understanding, observation, and a willingness to experiment with natural materials. You know, the floor hack shows something bigger about Vikings. They weren't just raiders. They were practical engineers who thrived in those harsh climates. Every plank of wood, every stone laid, every layer of straw had a purpose. They turned scarcity into strength, using their knowledge of the natural world to create comfort in the most brutal conditions. And here's the secret sauce for you, our viewers. Survival isn't about brute force or fancy modern gadgets. Sometimes it's about observing, experimenting, and letting simple materials work their magic, just like the Vikings did 1,000 years ago. Viking floors weren't flashy, but they were downright revolutionary. They combined heat retention, moisture management, and comfort in one simple hack. Understanding how and why it worked can teach us a thing or two about efficient design, sustainable living, and practical survival skills. The next time you step on a cold floor and shiver, well, think about how a Viking might have layered it to stay warm all winter without burning a single log. If you loved uncovering this secret, make sure you hit subscribe and join history's survival code for more ancient hacks that outsmart modern life. Go ahead and share this video with anyone who thinks surviving the cold is impossible. You'll be spreading centuries-old wisdom that still works today.